Many years ago, just a little bit after the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash, the Romans were in charge in Israel. The Romans were very mean to the Jewish people. They put down all sorts of evil decrees. No learning Torah, no keeping Shabbat, no doing Brit Milah, no gathering together as a Jewish people. But there were some nice things that they did in the land of Israel. They built buildings. They built many houses. They even built bridges. Once upon a time, there were three great rabbis, Rabbi Yehuda bar Ilai, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who were talking to each other. And one of them asked the other two, "Are the Romans good for the Jewish people or not so good?" Rabbi Yehuda bar Ilai said, "I think the Romans are very good for the Jewish people. Look at all the nice things they built. Buildings and bridges and bathhouses. It's great." Rabbi Yossi was quiet. And Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai said, "It's true that they built those things, but they didn't build it to be nice to us. They built it for their own good, because that's just what they wanted to have." They didn't know that someone was listening to them. It was Rabbi Yehuda ben Gerim. And he went and he told somebody else, "Hey, did you hear what the three rabbis said?" Who told somebody else? "Hey, did you hear what the three rabbis said?" Who told somebody else? "Hey, did you hear what the three rabbis said?" Until news came to the Roman emperor. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Rabbi Yehuda bar Ilai said nice things about the Roman Empire. He will get a reward. Good job. You will get a reward. Rabbi Yossi was quiet. "You were too quiet, Rabbi Yossi. You need to go live somewhere else." "Okay." Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, that evil man, he said bad things about the Romans. "I do not like when people say bad things about the Romans. I will capture Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and take him with me." But Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai ran home to tell his wife. And then Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai went and hid in the Beit Midrash. And he hid there and he was learning Torah. Every day, his wife would come and bring him food. "Here, I brought you some food." Every day, she would go back and forth and bring him some food. The Romans did not find Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, but Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai got scared that they would find him. And so one day, he told his son, "Son, I am scared that the Romans will find me in the Beit Midrash. So instead, we are going to go and hide in a cave." And so Rabbi Shimon and his son Rabbi Eliezer went to hide in a cave. The cave was far, far away from his wife and from all other people. It was not near any houses or bathhouses or bridges. The cave was quiet. And Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and his son Rabbi Eliezer were able to learn Torah there day at night, Hashem made an amazing miracle for them. There was a stream of water running through the cave so that when they got thirsty, they can drink. And Hashem made a tree grow that was a carob tree. And every day when they were hungry, they were able to pick from it and eat the carob. And on Shabbat, a fig tree would grow figs. So they had extra special food for Shabbat. They didn't have any extra clothing with them. So do you know what they did? They only wore their clothing to daven. The rest of the day, they hid in the sand so that their bodies would be all covered up while they were learning together. And they saved their clothing just for tefillah and just for Shabbat. Now, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son Rabbi Eliezer lived there for 12 years. The Romans were looking and looking for them, but they did not find them. Now, one day, during the many years that they lived in the cave, they used to have a special visitor who would come. Do you know who it was? I'm going to sing his special song, and you're going to know. Eliyahu would come and visit them in the cave and learn Torah with them. He would tell them lots of secrets from the Torah that nobody else knew. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was a great teacher. He was the one who taught everybody Torah. But now if he had any questions, who answered them? Eliyahu Hanavi would come and visit them and learn Torah with them. One day, there were rabbis sitting far, far away from the cave. 3 Tanaim were sitting. And they were learning Torah together. And they said, I'll block this part off. And they said, oh, we don't know the answer to this question. I wish we knew the answer to this question, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai said. Do you know, if Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was here, he would know the answer to this question. But he's not here with us, so we don't know the answer. They were sad. They wanted to know the answer to the question. And then Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda was taking a walk, and he saw a white dove. Where could it be? Where could it be? Oh! He was taking a walk, and he saw a white dove. He said, Dove, do you remember you helped Noah in his teva? You told Noah when it wasn't raining anymore and he could come out of his teva. Now maybe you can help us. Maybe you can help us get an answer from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And so they took a pen and they wrote a note. They said, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, can you answer this very difficult Torah question for us? And they wrote down the question and they wrapped up the note and they put it in the mouth of the dove. And the dove flew away. Do you think that the dove would know where Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was? Yes, she did. Suddenly a dove flew to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son Rabbi Eliezer. And the dove flew in with a note in its beak. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai took the note out. And he started to read the note. And he saw that the rabbis have a question. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai started to cry. He said, I'm so sad. I miss learning with all the other rabbis. I wish I could learn with them. Rabbi Eliezer said, "Is that why you're crying, Abba?" And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, there's another reason I'm crying. And that's because this question is a secret. We don't even know the answer. And so we can't even give them an answer. And all of a sudden, just as he was done speaking, la 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 la, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hanavi came to the cave and taught Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son Rabbi Eliezer the answer to the question. And then they wrote it down on a piece of paper, rolled it up, put it in the mouth of the dove, and the dove flew back to the rabbis and gave them the answer. Rabbi Yossi said so happily, "Dove, you helped Noach in the time of the Teva, and now you are helping us." And they were so, so happy that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was still able to teach them. Now, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son stayed in the cave for 12 years. And then one day, Eliyahu Hanavi came to the cave and said, "I have some news, and the news is that the Roman emperor is dead. He's not alive anymore, and he's not looking for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai does not need to hide anymore." Yay! They can go home. They were so excited to go home. And so they started to walk out of the cave. But what they saw was a surprise for them. They saw farmers. And the farmers were farming their land. And they said, "What? Why are the farmers farming their land? You don't need to farm land. Hashem will give you everything you need." And when they looked at them, they were so holy and so powerful that their fields blew up. A voice came out from Shamayim and said, "Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Eliezer, this is not nice. Go back to your cave." And so Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Eliezer went back to the cave. And they stayed in the cave for one more year to learn how to come back into the world, because they haven't lived in the real world in a really long time, and they need to learn what it's like to be in the real world. And then on Lag baomer, they came back. Lag baomer is the 33rd day between Pesach and Shavuot. Do you know that every night we count the Omer, starting with the second night of Pesach? 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way until we get to 49. And 49 is Shavuot. But on the 33rd day of the Omer, Rabbi Shimon and his son left the cave. And they came home. And here they were. On their way home, they saw more men farming. But they said, "It's okay. Everybody's different. And everybody needs to do what they need to do." And on their way home, they saw a man. And the man was holding two packages of hadassim. And they said, "Excuse me, sir, why are you holding 2 packages of hadassim?" And the man said, "Oh, for Shabbat. I'm bringing these home for Shabbat. And Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar said, but why do you need 2 of them? Why don't you just have 1? And he said, well, because Shabbat has 2 special commandments, Shamor and Zachor. That's why we light 2 candles for Shabbat. And so I am bringing Hadassim for Shamor and for Zachor. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, that's amazing. The Jewish people are so amazing, and that's why Hashem loves them so much. And so Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of his cave, and now he went to learn with all the rabbis together, and he taught them all the secrets of the Torah. And the secrets of the Torah is called the Kabbalah, or the Zohar. He wrote it all down, the secrets, in the Zohar, and he taught it to all the great rabbis. And then, one day, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I'll tell you a story. One time, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was walking, and his father-in-law, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, was looking for him. And he said, has anyone seen Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? He teaches Torah in a very loud voice. And the men who saw him said, do you mean the man who walks around with birds on his head? Do you know why birds would stay over his head? Because even when it was hot and sunny outside, Hashem didn't want Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's head to get burned from the sun. And so birds would fly on top of his head to keep him in the shade. Now, one more thing. One day, on that same day, Lag baomer, the same day that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of the cave, he knew it was going to be the day that he was going to die, that his neshama was going to go back to Hashem. And he called over all the great rabbis. Rabbis, come. We're going to learn the last secrets of the Torah. I am going to teach you. And he sat all day with them and learned all the secrets of the Torah. And then he said, rabbis, I want to tell you something important. When I die, I don't want you to cry and be sad. I want you to be happy for me that I am going back up to Hashem. So don't be sad and cry. Instead, make big party. Make big bonfires. Sing lots of songs, because this is the day that I get to go back up to Hashem. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was lying on his bed, and suddenly his bed, a fire came beneath his bed, and he started to float up to Hashem through Meron, and he was buried there in Meron. And if you go to Eretz Yisrael, you can go visit the kever of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Meron. And you can go there, and you can sing, and you can dance, and you can make big bonfires on Lag baomer, the day that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai died. And even now, even not in Meron, even in Miami, on Lag baomer, we make big parties. Sometimes we make bonfires. And we sing and we dance and we eat yummy food as a special day on Lag baomer when we celebrate Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Bar Yochai nimshachta ashrecha shemen sason mechaverecha. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Happy Lag baomer.